So today, all the way from California, from the USA, we are going to speak about acting, how it works with Jason. Jason, could you please introduce yourself and what you do for business?
Hi, my name is Jason Zlatkus, and I'm an actor and a model, but mostly I prefer to be an actor, and that's what I do. That's my business.
And why is acting your passion?
Yeah. Sometimes people ask me that. Why do I like acting? Let's say over modeling. For me, it's modeling is fun. It's cool, but acting to me is more. I don't want to. It's more touchable. It's more permanent. It's recorded. To me, it connects with the audience more. I get to, as a model, it's hard to, you don't get a lot of expression. I mean, your face is sort of, to quote with a very good friend, your face is your pose. And so that's really what you have, but you can't really connect on a higher level. There's not the emotion, the passion, the drive, and that you can give an audience when you're acting, even in a play. But for me, I prefer film acting, so something that's recorded, something that's sort of tangible and forever. That's where like I found the passion, really like bringing a character to life more than just being a good looking hanger, if you will, as a model. And not that I don't do my best as a model. I don't want to minimize modeling. Don't get me wrong, but as an actor, I'm free to really convey my experiences and training to an audience. I think that's so much deeper. And for me, that's really where it is. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really like passionate about talking about it, even like, because that's to me where it is connecting with people on that level. When people go, wow, man, you know what happened? And I'm gonna, I know this is a little winded, but my father saw one of my videos and he cried because it like touched him. And that is not something you can do as a model. Rarely do you make someone cry as a model unless you say, sorry, I'm taken. So that's kind of where it's at.
So my question here is quite important. Like, okay, as an actor, you don't act exactly in front of the people. You record what you were acting, but while modeling, you are modeling in front of the audience. So how is it possible that you build a stronger relationship with the audience as an actor more than as a model?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that, like I said, it's tangible, it's recorded. After a modeling event, oftentimes people come up to me and say, wow, you did a great job. But they never say stuff like, oh, you emotionally touched me, or, oh, your performance drove me, or, wow, I was really moved by that. And I think that's sort of the difference is just the entire performance. Modeling is one thing, and we're trying to elicit emotion, we're trying to elicit things, but it's not the same as when it's recorded and somebody watches it in the intimacy of either their home or a theater or, on their phone, whatever the case might be. And, it connects with somebody just deeper that way. I never really thought about that before, but yeah, in front of an audience, after a play, then sometimes people will say it, but not typically after modeling. People come up and just tell you how good you look. They never say, sometimes they'll tell me I remind them of their grandson, but but I mean, normally they don't come up and say, you moved me on sort of a emotional level like they do after a movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my question here is like, how do you build a moment that's gonna survive in the people's emotions and people's feelings forever?
Right. So I think that's really, why we get paid, I guess, and because that's our job, is to be convincing. If I'm not convincing, then you're not going to buy it. You're not going to be moved. And I think that's where the training comes in, where the practice, where the experience comes in. is really, having done it. But drawing, for me, it's about coming from my personal life. How would I actually approach this, and how would I convey it to someone else? And then I hope it translates. And there's a lot of things involved. It's directing, it's editing. There's a lot that goes involved in hoping it hits the audience. But as far as my role, all I can be is the best actor I can be to connect with the audience, and then it's out of my hands.
So my question here, like, is it about being the best you can be, or is it being the professional that you should be?
Both, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can't. Yeah, I mean, I'm not always the most professional dude. They tell me I am, which is great. They say, "Oh, you're so professional." I maybe I don't feel that way, but I think, as long as when you're on screen conveying, to the audience, then I think, if you have a level of professionalism that's at least somewhat there, and I do, don't get me wrong, I come full prepared, and when the director says action, there's no goofing off. It's full ahead, and I think that's really what it is. Professionalism is definitely part of it, and I think that's why I get a lot of work. I am very professional. I show up prepared. I show up on time. Those things, that to me is more of the professionalism than being the best actor. And again, I'm not saying I'm the best actor. I'm saying I need to be the best actor I can be. And that's my job, is to come prepared. That's the professional side. Be on time. Have studied the lines. Those kind of things are the professionalism. Portraying the connecting with the audience, that's the actor part of it. So I think it takes both.
So my question here is, like, does it depend more on your natural skill or more on training?
It's both. For me, it's both. But training is huge. Training is absolutely huge. Like without training, you kind of can't. You could have all the skill in the world, but training is really essential. There's a lot of things that you just don't know when you come on set. And I was guilty of those things when I first got there. I'm not saying you can't get a start without knowing those things, but for me, I found training really essential. But I think natural skill. I don't know how much, I don't know if there is such a thing as a natural. I mean, maybe, for me, I found that I had to work harder. I have what they tell me, natural charisma or whatever, but the truth is that only gets me in the door. And to rework with directors, to rework with agencies and stuff, I've had to, that's where the training comes in. So I think the natural stuff, like my look, I can't change my look. That's sort of given to me, but that gets me in the door. But once I'm there, it has to be training. Yeah, I think my look only got me so far, but my training took me further. So I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, my question here is to exactly oppose your point of view. Like, most of the audience, look at the actors and these famous celebrities, in the view that they are, let's say, most relaxed. They enjoy their time. They just show up on the scene and then do their shot and then just get back to the fun. Is this really the truth? How much practice, how much hard work is there?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me that question. So, okay, so the truth is it's very hard, very, very, very hard. I don't care what level you're at; it's very, very hard to portray a character, and to be on set and to give a good performance is very hard. Acting is not easy. You can watch tons of movies and you'll see people that are terrible actors in movies. It doesn't matter. I mean, I made some terrible movies because of me, because I wasn't good. I'm not saying that, and so it's very hard. But I'll tell you what I do. I make it look like it's not hard. And I may, especially when I'm portraying online or when I'm creating an image, I make it look like I am this super fun guy always, and I am. Don't get me wrong, I'm not really exaggerating. I am, but it looks like it's this wild party. It looks like it's none of those things. It's none of those things. That's images that people see online. It's none of those things. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have a good time. We make movies, but it's work, and it's very hard, and it's go time, and we're not fooling around. You know, when we take a break, we take a break. But other than that, there is no fooling around. There's no goofing. There's not time for photos. There's all these, you know, all of that stuff is not there. I mean, there's time for photos because you're waiting 2 hours for lighting to get set up. But realistically, it's very serious. It's very hard. And I don't care if you're Brad Pitt or me or just starting in the industry. It is extremely tough to stay in the character, to be ready for action at any moment. You know, you're not, even when you're on break, you're not really on break. You're waiting to hear, you know, to get on set because you know that they're setting a lighting and stuff. So we make it look like it's easy and that we're having this, or I make it look like it's this big party and that it's so easy to just walk on. And I think that's why I get a lot of people who go, oh, I can do it. I could be an actor. No, it's very hard. So I think even in Hollywood, when you're seeing those behind the scenes photos, those are brief moments in time that look like a fun party, but realistically, it's a job. It's a fun job, but it's a job, you know?
Okay. So my question is like, how much memorization and how much study do you do?
Oh my gosh. So hours of that. Okay. So yeah, that's a good question. Okay. So that's another thing people don't see. And that's a really good question, is that people see me on set. I walk up, I do my job. They go, oh my God, you're so amazing. They don't know that I have spent the last 3 weeks upset at myself for not being able to memorize the lines in time, upset at myself for not really getting the character that I feel I should have. They don't know how much like pain and agony and all this extra stuff goes in to becoming a character and memorizing lines. Oh man, it's hours. It's every night. It's every night. And sometimes it's every other night leading up to it. And then when I get to the week before the film, it's every single night. And so people don't know that. And then sometimes it's all day. Like I'll sit here all day reading the script over and over and over, upset because I missed one word, you know? And then, so yeah, but when I get on set, I make it look easy. But that's the thing, is they don't know. It's hours and hours of training. Like when you go to Cirque du Soleil, right? These people, you go and you see the show and they put it on for, you know, whatever. And they're so amazing. You go, oh my God, I could never do that. You don't know they've spent hours and hours and hours behind the scenes, falling and crying and all of that. We do that as actors. We do all that as actors. All of that suffering is done behind the scenes. So yeah, I spend hours memorizing stuff, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really surprising true. So, for example, let's say for one film, or let's say for one day of shooting, how much memorization or how many pages do you have to memorize?
Right. Okay. So that depends on the director. Okay. So I've had one day of shooting where I had no lines, and it's a whole day of shooting, or a whole night of shooting. And, you know, it just depends. So other times I've had where it's 4 or 5 pages in a day. You know, and they're really ambitious, and you know, you have to be like moving and moving and moving, otherwise it just, you can't get through it in time. So it kind of depends on the director, and every director has a different style. So, you know, there isn't necessarily a timeline, but realistically, an all-day shoot, 3 or 4 pages of dialogue. I mean, for me, that's been my experience. Maybe other people have a lot more than that, but I would say 3 or 4 pages of dialogue is probably right. You know, for what I've spent on a day movie, a short film, perhaps.
So, Jason, to get a glimpse into what you do, could you recite a part of a film?
Yes, absolutely. So the movie is called Stuck in the Fire. and it is, well, I'm not sure actually if that's the working title, but that is the name of the book it's based on. Let me give a little plug for the book. There it is, by Tina Encarnacion, and it's in the movie I play a doctor, and unfortunately, as her doctor, she's not in very good health. And it's based off a true story. She actually lived it, and she was. I'm trying not to give anything away because it is going to be episodic. But as you know, she wrote the book, so she survives the ordeal. But at one point she's in pregnancy and near death, and she has to make a decision. She has to make a decision for herself if she will live or if her child will live. And she decides at that point to put it in God's hands. And so I'm the doctor who will give her the messages or deliver of whatever she needs and the treatment, essentially, without trying to give too much away about the story. So I come in, and the nurse, this can't be right because your blood pressure is 200 over 175. I would have to have the nurse recheck this. And she wants to have more dilations because she has a problem with her throat. So, Tina, you've already had 28 dilations. It's not recommended to do more than 10. And your esophagus is very weak. I'm afraid you can't support us to continue this treatment. I'm going to discuss your case with my colleagues and see if there's any other options, but I'm not comfortable with doing this treatment again, and it isn't working. So I have to tell her that. Essentially. So hopefully, but like I said, that's a few weeks away, and I plan to hone that a lot more, but yeah.
That is awesome. I really appreciate that. Okay, so my other question here, if we want to look more for you, which is your favorite movie you've been in?
Yeah, so I have a lot of really great films that I've been in, and it's hard to pick a favorite. But if I had to pick a favorite, it'd be a movie that's not technically out yet. It would be Gone with the Dead, which was shot by Crusade Films, and the reason it's a favorite is because it was my first major set that I was on, and it's the one that I fell in love with acting on. So that, to me, it holds a very sentimental value. And if you know me at all, I'm a very sentimental dude. I collect stuff and memorabilia, and I've always been fascinated by collectibles and things that are reminiscent of past things. So I'm a really sentimental guy. So for me, it has to be Gone with the Dead as my favorite movie that I've ever worked on. However, I really never had a bad experience. Every movie I've worked on has been really cool. I've had some cold experiences. I mean, I've had some experiences that weren't my favorite. But ultimately, most movies I've worked on, I get something really great from, either a new friend or a new experience. So most of these movies, they're up there. But I would have to say Gone with the Dead, which is supposedly coming out in 2021. I think it's in the editing process. Some of that's out of my hands. Once we shoot it, you never know where it goes. But I'm told it's 2021. But I've been told it was 2019. I've been told it was 2020. So, the problem is with COVID, everything got moved. There's a lot of stuff that was supposedly coming out, even major productions, not just independent films, but major productions that have been moved to 2021. And that's what happened with Gone with the Dead, is it got moved. But that's probably my favorite movie I worked on. And another reason why is because I made a lot of good friends on the set. And when you were talking about earlier, we were talking about party atmosphere or having a great time on set. That was one of the most fun. Everybody there was super professional. Everybody there was studying their lines very hard. Everybody there was working. Everybody there was there from 9 a.m. Some people didn't even begin to shoot their scenes until 4 or 5 o'clock at night. And everybody was super dedicated to the project. And it was the most fun I ever had. Like it was really great.
Great. So what would you like to tell your audience today, especially at this time of COVID-19?
What would I tell my audience? Okay, so first off, thank you. Thank you to my audience. I mean, I got a little emotional. Sorry. The people mean the most to me. Anyone who's listening to this right now, thank you. Anyone who watches my movies, thank you. Anyone who follows me and comments, thank you. That's all I can say. I feel like I'm a guy that, you know, and I feel so undeserving of everyone's praise, and all I can say is thank you. And you know, and to anyone, and a lot of people, be yourself is probably the biggest advice, right? If I have to give advice, it's not advice. I don't like to give advice. My experience has shown me that being myself is, even when I try to be a character, they go, no, do it like you would do it. And so I was like, oh, I thought you wanted me to be, no, we want you to do you. And then, you know, relax and just deliver it. And so as an actor, be yourself. You know, God gave you what you were given, and everyone has their role, especially as an actor. There's room for everyone. There's room for everyone. I mean, it's a huge pie. Everyone only gets a small slice, but that slice is good. So get your slice. There's room for everyone. So what I'm saying is, be yourself though to do that. Don't be me. Don't do what I do. What I do might not work. Be you. That, you know, other than thank you, be yourself is the only thing I can say. I mean, really. And that's not advice. That's the truth. God made you. I didn't do that. You know, that's how you're supposed to be. So be what you are. I mean, that's, and it took me, man, I'm not trying to pretend like I have the secret. Man, it took me 40 years plus to learn that. You know what I mean? Oh. Like it took me 40 years plus to just learn to be my dang self. You know? So yeah, that's my advice.
It has been awesome, more than fantastic talking to you, Jason. Today we have taken much of your time for today. Thank you so much for that indeed.
Oh man, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you.